Okay, so as promised, I am going to teach you how to make some vegan yogurt because I know I sent you the recipe, but just like how you taught me how to make kombucha, it's so much easier if you just have someone to show you the steps. So I've done a little bit of the prep work initially, so that way this will make you go a little bit faster. It probably still is going to be 10 million years long, so I'm really sorry. And then we are going to have to do this in segments, which hopefully I'll be able to edit it together into one consecutive video so you don't have to just like watch a series of clips, because there is a little bit of waiting that you have to do between the steps. But this first step is really, really easy. A bit of prep work is involved. So for example, these are my cashews. You do want to, oh, I should have had these out, hold on. You want to use whole raw cashews, so unsalted, unroasted. So just whole raw ones. I just got this from Costco. Next time we're together, I have a Costco membership. If you want to go and get one of these, this is like 16 bucks. But if you're like me and every single effing vegan recipe you make requires whole, raw cashews, then it's a good investment. So I soaked those overnight. You do want to do it overnight. Now these I went a little bit ham on, and I did for like 2 days, but just overnight is fine. I did also rinse them before I drained the water, and then all we're gonna do is we're gonna take a blender. Hopefully you have one, and I'm really hoping that yours is more higher powered than mine is, just because I can get this smooth but not like super duper smooth, you know what I mean? So hopefully you have a better blender than me. So we're gonna put those in the blender. This is all in the recipe as well, but again, the next step is I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of tapioca starch. If I didn't send you a link to an Amazon page to order this, let me know, because I could not find this in grocery stores. I had to go on Amazon, which is awesome. But it's going to be a 1/4 cup of this. Now, I add this in before I add in the coconut milk, just because it gets a little bit crazy if you add it in after. Awesome. And there has been, I've read a few different iterations of this recipe where people used like arrowroot starch instead. Frankly, I've never tried that, so I don't know. But I would say better safe than sorry, probably go with the tapioca starch, because I know that it works. And I can't tell you about arrowroot starch. I actually have arrowroot starch, so maybe I'll try a batch with that, but I also don't want to F up my yogurt, because I use previous batches to make my new batches now. So I'm like, well, that would be tragic if I did that. So we added in our 1/4 cup of tapioca starch. As you can see, it kind of gets everywhere. So beware. I don't really like working with this. And then the last thing is going to be our 2 cans of light unsweetened coconut milk. I believe I put these on the recipe, but if not, these cans are each 13.5 fluid ounces. I know that they sell like larger containers of like 26 fluid ounces. If you want to just go with one of those, that's fine. Just make sure it's light and unsweetened. You can't use full fat, and you can't use coconut cream because it'll get way too thick and you'll hate your life. Now, pro tip, if you have a crappy blender like I do, we're only going to pour in a little bit of coconut milk for now, and then blend this until it's a little bit smooth, and then we'll add the rest of our liquid. Otherwise, what happens is that there's too much stuff in here, and the blender can't actually get to the cashews, and it doesn't blend great. So we're going to do that. Careful. I'm super sorry. It's going to be loud for a second, but we're going to do it. Here we go. Pretty smooth. Before I move on, I'm just gonna check and make sure. Yeah, see, mine never gets it good enough. It's always a little bit grainy, but it's pretty good. So now we're gonna add in the rest of our coconut milk. Aren't you so glad that I opened the cans beforehand so you don't have to watch me do that too? Yeah. And then we're gonna blend it again for a minute and try to get it as smooth as possible. Trust me when I say if you don't think it's smooth enough, just keep freaking going. Like, it's gonna be so sad if your yogurt is a little bit grainy. Granted, I only use mine in protein shakes, so there's that. It doesn't really matter. But if you're using yours to just like eat for normal pleasure businesses, blend the crap out of this. Okay, before I move on, I just do a quick little inquiry just to make sure. Yeah, that's pretty smooth. We will accept that. Acceptable. Okay. Alright, the next step is really, really easy, but we're going to pour it into a small saucepan. And then I actually was smart and grabbed a rubber spatula so I can get all of this yummy goodness in here, because this stuff is like liquid gold. And with how, well, it's not really labor intensive, but with how much of the process goes into it, I try to get as much as I can, because why the flip not? Okay, so we got most of that in there. Now, this next step, I'm going to pause before I actually put this on the burner, but we're going to put this on the stove on low heat. I think that that's something that I made up, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that the recipe that I originally followed said you could do it on like medium heat, but I am a freak and I really worry about things burning. So I just do it on low heat and I stir it constantly until it thickens. So I'm going to skip that part because, again, it's really easy. All you got to do, low heat, stir it constantly until it thickens. I use plastic because, again, I'm a freak. I know that there's no probiotics in here yet, but I don't like to mess with that. Like, I don't want to kill my bacteria. And then I will videotape again once it is thickened so you can kind of see what you're trying to, or what consistency you're trying to get to, and we'll go from there.